Welcome to the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. Go for good times, go for GoMart. With me now is head baseball coach Jimmy Mullins. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. It was a 4-game sweep this past weekend. You almost made history. You outscored them 28-1 against West Virginia Wesleyan. It all started on Friday due to the weather. It was a 3-0 Game 1 win and then a 13-0 Game 2 win. The bats really came alive. What did you think of Friday's performance?
I thought all weekend that our offensive approach was good. I'm very proud of our pitching performance, especially with schedule changes and things like that. So we threw the ball well. We got another good start from Dellerman, another good start from Landis. The guys we used out of the pen, we didn't have to use very many, but the guys we used were effective. And we haven't gotten into Game 3 and 4, but the Game 3 and 4 starters, Trent Taylor, he's just so good to have him back and healthy. And we know we didn't have him for the first half of the year really, and then first couple starts is still trying to get back through and get into it. But I just had to make some mechanical adjustments, and that's not easy to do, especially pitching-wise because there's so many moving parts. But, he's got compete factor, and Dellerman's got compete factor. Landis has got compete factor. And compete factor always outweighs little mechanical differences because it's about your intent in competing over, everything isn't going to be the same. So, and your mechanics all the time. So, we're just so happy to have Trent Taylor back, and we're happy that Dellerman's continued to throw the ball well, and Landis has gotten some, some tough breaks. He's had really good outings for us all year long. I think he's top 3 in the league in batting average against, and obviously he doesn't have the wins because it's a team sport there, and those aspects, things haven't gone our way, but credit to him to continue to battle, and they both had good starts there Friday.
And then looking on Sunday, like you mentioned, Trent Taylor, 11 strikeouts in his complete game. And then freshman Jacob Gora turned around in Game 2 and went 5 2/3, only gave up 1 hit, struck out 6. What did you like about your team's performance on Sunday?
Yeah, I really like that we're focused on – we knew going into Sunday that if we had 2 wins there, we would clinch a playoff berth. But, I could really see that they were, 1 win at a time. And sometimes when things go your way so easily on the first day, the second day you think you got it in the bag, and that's when things go awry, especially in a game of baseball. But I was just so happy with the way that they just kept it locked in, even when they hit balls hard and they were caught. They didn't panic. They didn't say, we're okay, we'll do it next week. They just stayed on the plan, and I was very happy for that. So we really have been talking about some little things because we started the year bottom of the division in stats on offensive categories, and we're like, look, we got to figure out how to play chess and not checkers a little bit. And I just figured if we can get 5 or 6 guys to buy into certain things, then it's really going to help us. And credit to them that they have been. So it's kind of been more a little bit with these guys had to be a little bit more one-on-one. If you talk to them in a group setting, it's just not retained very well. So you have to really catch them one-on-one, when they're getting around the batting turtle and BP or, phone calls at night, things like this. But they're really buying into those things, and just little things that each individual can do is helping us win. So I was really happy with this weekend.
And then if you go back to about 2 weekends ago, your win streak's up to 9. They dating back to the state games, and you swept D&E, swept Wesleyan. You were 5 games under 500 in the conference and teetering 500 overall. What have you liked out of your team over this 9-game winning streak, now being able to solidify that berth into the tournament and also improve your record? What have you liked out of them?
Listen, we could have packed it in a while ago when we had you could just look around and say, our catcher is out. He came back and then was healthy and then ran into a first baseman, broke his wrist. Our first baseman's ankle's all messed up. He hit 10 bombs or whatever last year, and now it seems like, he hasn't hit a line drive in a month. Our shortstop, middle infielder type guys, arm injury, outfielders hurt, this and that. Look, our third baseman, Carlos, Carlos has been part of our heart and soul here for the past 4 years. Mm-hmm. You understand? So, then he slips on the ice out here and tears his knee. It's easy to pack it in and say, this is just not going to be our year. So let's just sit around and complain. And we've had a few people do that. But credit to them that the majority of them said, just one game at a time, one day at a time. Keep it locked in. Keep us right there. Keep our head above water. We started getting players back. We started having to play a little bit differently, and we went down to West Virginia State, and it's hard to play down there, and it's hard to get wins down there. And we got a couple wins, and then, like you said, the last few weeks, it's nothing wrong with peaking a little bit later than too early. And I think that we're starting to believe that we can play well while we're not at our best, because nobody feels good at this time of the year. So I think if we can start sharpening some mental skills of how to, do some little things, we're just going to continue to get better.
And now you've clinched your berth into the MSC tournament for the second time in 3 years. It's the first time ever in school history that's been clinched prior to the final weekend of the regular season. What's that been like for you, knowing, okay, now I go into the final weekend. You don't have to worry about, what if this happens, like we mentioned before we came on the show. What if Charleston sits their guys? What if this happens? So what's this been like for you now that you've clinched a berth and you're only a game back of the division, possibility of winning it this weekend? So what's that been like for you guys?
Yeah, it's just, to me, what I just reflect on, like we said, is, they could have easily packed it in. And, we spent all year, like sometimes we'll mention the 35-17 team we had here that went all the way to the conference championship game. We'll mention just little characteristics and qualities, because I do believe there's lessons in storytelling, right? So now, like, that team didn't clinch before the last weekend.
Yep.
Now, if you look at our overall record, like, we're pretty close to that. But because we have good guys here. So I just reflected on the fact that we started, all banged up, and we kept it locked in, and that's credit to them. If I'm a CEO of a company out there, I'd look on our roster and hire any one of these guys. That's for sure, 100%. Yeah, it's obviously nice to go in there and know that, hey, if we, have a bad day, it's not going to cost us a tournament berth, because I believe this team deserves to go. And fortunately, we're gone. And
now this coming weekend, it's a final series of the regular season. You're going to start out on Friday at Concord and then bring them back home for Senior Day on Sunday, both days 1 and 3:30. What do you want to see out of you guys now that you have a chance to maybe clinch the MC South, but you're already in? But what do you want to see out of this final weekend?
I want to see a hunger and a desire to try to win the Southern Division, something else that we've never done. And listen, we're going to continue to do things in our program here that has never been done in our program. We're going to continue to do that, but we got an opportunity to do something else cool here this coming weekend, so that's what we look forward to do.
All right, Coach. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. Congrats on clinching a berth into the tournament. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, thanks, man.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. Joining me now is head softball coach Sara Scoone. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach. It was a long week for you guys. It stretched out over 5 days. Started out with Concord on Wednesday. It was a 5-4 victory in Game 1, 3-2 loss in 8 innings in Game 2. Kind of a tale of two different stories. You're falling or you're losing 4-1 in the first game. You come back there late, and then in Game 2, you're winning late, and they turn the table, get the victory there in the later innings. What do you think about Wednesday's performances?
No, I think that's it. That's all we just know. I'm just kidding. I just hate talking about the games against Concord, I guess. What did I think? Well, I didn't think good thoughts. It was good to see our hitters fight back in that first game. I thought, actually, as a whole, it was good to see our hitters kind of fight back. I think we need to do better as a team when we play. How do I want to say this?
Not Charleston and Fairmont and Frostburg?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if you want to be with the best, you got to beat the best, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then, if you're doing that, why is the alternative so difficult? That's kind of where we're at. Where I think it's between the ears. I think those games are between the ears, and I think the conversations of those games maybe need to stay in the locker room. So let's move forward.
Well, the good thing, though, is you moved on very quickly there on Sunday with some wins over Point Park. 5-2 in the first one. They made it a little interesting early, but you guys were able to pull away, and you just blew them out in Game 2, 11-0 in 5 innings. What did you like about Sunday?
So I thought the second game was a much better representation of who we are. I think the first game was, again, going back into that mindset of, well, we can respond, so we're good. And we can respond, right? Like, that's fine. But why don't we come out a little hotter, and why don't we just, put the nail on the board and hammer it in, and, like, that's it. Stop waiting to hammer before, it's like they're nervous to hammer first. Well, here, you hammer, and then I'll finish. So that's kind of where that game made me feel, as a coach, we need to work, again, between the ears. However, I thought defense was pretty solid. I thought pitching was solid. We did have a couple missed spots, but as far as bouncing back, not getting behind as much in the count, that was a good one. I thought as far as our bats, again, I think in the first game we left a little bit too many runners on. But it was really nice to see in the second game. I thought the girls responded well, and I just that's kind of where that is.
Then on Monday, you're able to beat Salem 10-2 in 6 innings, and then 8-0 in 6 innings. Kind of the same, forte as the Sunday games where it took you guys a minute to get the bats rolling. But I mean, Zaylee Seda had a big one there on that first game, 2 home runs, including a grand slam. What'd you like about your girls' ability to clean those games on Monday?
I think actually Monday was a really good storytelling game. So regardless of who you play, sometimes it does come down to one person being hot at the right time. And if you're getting on base for the person who's hot, that'll actually end up being really well. So, and we say it all the time, if you're up to bat and someone behind you is just, hot as hell, if they're hot, right? And then, so that person has no pressure. You're picking something that you can hit. If it's not something that you can hit, then go ahead and take your walk because the person behind you is hot.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I thought that was more of like a team atmosphere type of game, and we need to pay attention to that a little bit more as a team. If someone comes out there and they hit, the first pitch 2 inches off the ground, maybe your job hitting in front of them is to get on base so we can give them a sac bunt. Let's be more team here, and let's be more buy-in as far as what our teammates are doing and when they're doing it. Because sometimes it's not the whole team.
Yep.
It just isn't. Like, Z had 6 RBIs in that game with the 8-run win. So it's like only 2 of those RBIs came from someone else. So, I mean, it is what it is. As far as pitching goes, I thought pitching did well. It was nice to see Megan back on the mound, really throwing her game. Her changeup was on fire. And then Macy threw well again, too. I actually thought defense did pretty well, too. Our defense is starting to, they're starting to climb. They're getting hot at the right time, so that's really good to see.
And now you're going to need that buy-in this coming week. You got D&E on Thursday, Western U Wesleyan on Friday. Some big games just for the AMC South Saints, and also, as you know from last year, making it into the NCAA tournament. These wins right here are huge. So what do you want to see out of your girls this coming week as you finish out the regular season?
Let's go back to the hammer method. I want them to stay hot, and, I want them to get hot and stay hot. It's no surprise what they're going to throw us. It's no surprise how they're going to hit. There's no surprises here, So if we can go in, again, between the ears, keeping it really just on track. We don't have to do anything special. We don't have to have grand slams every game. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to go in, make the routine outs, pick good pitches to swing at, take the walk if they give it to you, and just have full buy-in into your teammates. You didn't come this far just to come this far. So that's where I'm at. You didn't come this far just to come this far. If we let off the gas right now, I would, again, go between the ears and ask what is going on. So that's kind of where I am with this group now. You just have such great opportunities ahead of you. It would be wonderful to see just complete buy-in of your teammates and of yourself, just to go out, make good decisions, make routine outs, and just have fun while you do it. So that's kind of where I am this weekend.
And those games are 1 and 3 o'clock both days at D&E on Thursday. Western U Wesleyan.
Wesleyan's at 2 and 4.
Wesleyan is now at 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But 1 and 3 with D&E on Thursday. Coach, appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this coming week.
Thank you.
Basketball season is rolling, baby. Tony here, and I'm feeling the groove.
Brad here checking in, and when the hoops are flying, it's full court fun at GoMart.
That's right, the Groovy Hoops promotion is on now. Take your shot to earn bonus reward points and tokens when you purchase one of 6 specially marked items.
Collect all 6 tokens for an additional 2,000 points. Sign up for GoMart Rewards and watch your points soar like a slam dunk in platform shoes.
Go to GoMart.com or check the app for all the details. Stay groovy.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show presented by GoMart. With me now is head acrobatics and tumbling coach Taylor Broadwater. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach, you were at the NCATA Nationals this past weekend for the event finals. First in the 450 salto, and then you went in the open tumbling with Trinity Caltalino. Looking at the 450 salto, you were a national runner-up with a score of 9.50. You beat Fairmont State, you beat Oregon, you beat Baylor, but finished just behind the national champion, Quinnipiac. What did you think of your girls' performance first in that 450 salto?
Extremely happy with what they put on the floor. I don't think they could have executed any better. I think that was about the best toss that we've done all season long, and I think they gave it everything they have and left everything out on that mat.
And then Trinity Caltalano, like I mentioned, she had a 9.70 in the opening tumbling event, which got her tied for third with Oregon. She finished in front of Fairmont, but just behind Baylor and the national champion Duquesne. What do you think of her ability to do that, especially as a true freshman?
I think that's incredible that she could go out there and compete the way that she did. I think, again, she peaked at the right time this season, and she's gotten better. And, again, I think that was about the best pass Trinity's competed all season long, and she did everything she could. And competing against D1 schools is hard. and she executed exactly how she could have. And again, as a true freshman, I didn't know what to expect going into it, and I think she just proved everything that she's capable of.
And you mentioned the D1 schools. I wanted to ask you how kind of not weird or crazy, just how is that when you're competing with your girls in from Little Glenville, West Virginia, you got schools like Baylor, Oregon, Duquesne, these really big D1 schools. How is that for your girls?
I think it's exciting. I think it shows them exactly where we stand as a D2 school, and we can compete against the best of the best, and that's exactly what happened at Nationals. And watching their scores fall and knowing that they beat some D1 programs, I think is incredible, and it just shows them everything that they've done all season long and everything that they've earned.
And Sunday was the end of the careers for a few of your seniors, especially Samantha Duckworth. She was an All-American for the second straight season, the first to ever do that, and she was a second-team All-American. What was it like for you to see her get that All-American nod once again?
Very exciting. I'm very proud of her. Obviously, very hard to see her leave and be done with athletics. She's definitely been an athlete that has deserved everything that she's gotten. She has worked for everything. Nothing's been handed to her. She continues to step up for the program, and I do think that ending with an All-American status is exactly how that should have gone.
And the season now is officially over. You finished out 7-3 overall, 5-1 in the league, made it to the MEC finals, had 2 for the NCATA event finals, had some injuries too. This is a very interesting year for you guys.
Yeah.
What did you think overall of how the season transpired?
I think that this has been probably my favorite year to watch, just seeing this team work together. I don't think this season could have gone any better. I really don't. I feel that they have done everything they possibly could have. Obviously, you don't wish for injuries. We've talked about this a couple times on here. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it on our program. I don't want to see it on anyone's, but it happens. And I think that's something this year that was very different for us in terms of after an injury occurred, my athletes stepped up to the plate even more, and it was the ones that were injured. So I definitely had to move things around, and we were shuffling like with 24 hours to submit an SV a lot of times, but I think that at the end of the day, that made my program stronger, and I think it made the team work together more. And just to kind of see that bond that they created this year, I really feel like that is the reason we were so successful. They never once questioned each other, questioned me. It was always stepping up to the plate and doing exactly what they needed to do for the program. And they want more. This team, every single time they competed, they want more. They were never satisfied with where they were at, and they kind of looked at that for what to work toward in the weeks to come. And I think we ended the season exactly how I could have asked. Like, obviously, do you want to win? Yes, but I feel like they've done everything, and there's nothing that I would go back and change this year. I think that everything fell the way it should have, and I feel like they did everything they could have in terms of execution at every meet.
And I mentioned you're losing some seniors, but it's a second straight year. You've 7+ wins. You're finishing second in the Mountain East Conference. You nearly sweep the MEC awards. What's it look like for you now as you continue to try to grow this program? What's the offseason look like for you?
Offseason's going to be exciting. I'm definitely looking for some strong freshmen that are coming in. I'm still recruiting, still trying to build that roster. But I think the biggest thing with us is building this culture and continuing on the path that we're on, because that's what's made us us. So I think the biggest thing that I can ask for now is the girls to continue to show everyone that comes into this program what we're made of and what we do here. And I can already tell you a lot of the girls are in here on their own working. So I think big things are going to continue. I think the senior class has set a strong foundation, and everyone is following that and stepping up.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on all year, and congrats on the really good season this year.
Thank you so much.